914. The great powers of Europe divide into two rival alliances, the Triple Entente, France, Great Britain, and Russia, united by fear and suspicion of Germany, Europe's new strongest power, and the Triple Alliance, Germany, fearing encirclement by its rivals, Austria, Hungary, clinging to a fragile empire, and Italy, seeking gains at France's expense. The spark strikes on June 28th in the city of Sarajevo. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, is assassinated by a 19-year-old Slavic nationalist named Gavrilo Princip. Austria-Hungary accuses its Balkan rival Serbia of aiding the assassin and sends an ultimatum demanding humiliating concessions. Serbia rejects the ultimatum, and Austria-Hungary declares war. Within hours, Austrian forces are bombarding Belgrade. The Russian Tsar, Nicholas II, feels honor-bound to defend Serbia, a Slavic nation, and orders the mobilization of the Russian army. The German Emperor Wilhelm II has pledged his support to Austria-Hungary. He and his generals view conflict with Russia as inevitable, and the sooner the better, as Russian strength grows year by year. The Russian mobilization is used to justify German mobilization, followed by a declaration of war on Russia. Germany knows that war with Russia means war with Russia's ally, France. It has developed the Schlieffen Plan to meet this threat of war on two fronts. First, its armies will advance rapidly through neutral Belgium to encircle and destroy the French armies near Paris and win a quick victory. Then, its forces can move east to confront Russia, whose massive army will take much longer to mobilize. And so, Germany declares war on France. 6 million men now march to war across Europe. Italy, however, remains neutral. The terms of the Triple Alliance do not oblige it to join an offensive war. The United States also declares its neutrality. President Wilson and the American public have no desire to become entangled in the war in Europe. Great Britain is an ally of France, but at first it is unclear whether it will join the war against Germany. But when German troops invade Belgium, whose neutrality Great Britain has guaranteed, an ultimatum is sent from London to Berlin demanding that they withdraw. It is ignored, and Great Britain declares war. A British expeditionary force lands in France, while the Belgian resistance holds off the German invasion for crucial days at the fortress city of Liège. German troops commit several massacres against Belgian civilians. The atrocities are inflated by Allied propaganda and help turn public opinion in neutral countries against Germany. France, unaware of Germany's major encirclement attack, launches Plan 17, an offensive deep into German territory. But in the Battle of the Frontiers, they are repulsed, with enormous losses on both sides. The British expeditionary force collides with the German army at Mons. But the British are vastly outnumbered and soon join the French in retreat. The Allies make their stand on the Marne River, 40 miles from Paris. Their desperate counterattack saves the city and drives back the Germans. Both sides suffer 250,000 casualties. The race to the sea begins, as both sides attempt to outflank the other from the north. A series of engagements leads to the First Battle of Ypres, where the Allies desperately hold on and prevent the Germans from breaking through. There are heavier losses on both sides. The two armies then dug in along the entire 350-mile front, seeking shelter from the deadly fire of machine guns and artillery shells. Trench warfare has begun. British warships win the first naval battle of the war in the Heligoland Bight, sinking 3 German cruisers. Great Britain has the most powerful navy in the world, 29 modern battleships compared to Germany's 19. They now impose a naval blockade of Germany, preventing smuggled goods, including food, from arriving by sea. The goal is to bring the German economy to its knees and force it to surrender. But a week later, the British cruiser HMS Pathfinder becomes the first victim in history of a lethal new weapon, the submarine-launched torpedo. German submarines, or U-boats, have a surface range of 9,000 miles and can attack undetected from beneath the waves. They herald a deadly new challenge to British command of the seas. On the Eastern Front, Russian armies invade East Prussia, but they meet with disaster at the Battle of Tannenberg, where General von Hindenburg and his chief of staff, Erich Ludendorff, plan a brilliant victory. German, taking 90,000 prisoners and destroying an entire Russian army. The Russians contributed to their own defeat by transmitting uncoded wireless messages. A second major German victory at the Masurian Lakes forces the Russians to retreat. In just 6 weeks, the Russian army suffers nearly 1/3 casualties. Meanwhile, Austria-Hungary's invasion of Serbia suffers a humiliating setback at the Battle of Sayre. The Austro-Hungarian offensive against Russia also ends in disaster and retreat, with the loss of over 300,000 men. The fortress city of Przemyśl is isolated and besieged by the Russians. The Germans are forced to come to the rescue, launching a diversionary attack toward Warsaw. This leads to weeks of brutal winter fighting around the Polish city of Łódź, but there is no clear winner. Meanwhile, the Ottoman Turkish Empire has joined the Central Powers, declaring war on its old enemy, Russia. Turkish warships bombard the Russian ports of Odessa and Sevastopol, while in the Caucasus, Russian troops cross the Turkish border. Beyond Europe, the war rages on the world's oceans and in remote European colonies. German troops cross into British East Africa, present-day Kenya, and occupy Taveta, while Allied forces seize the German colony of Togoland, modern-day Togo. But British forces invading German Cameroon are defeated at Garua and Nsanakom, while a 3,000-strong force attacking German Southwest Africa, present-day Namibia, is captured at Sanfontaine. A month later, British landings at Tonga end in chaos and defeat at the hands of a much smaller German force led by Colonel von Lettow-Vorbeck. Cut off from Germany, Lettow-Vorbeck wages a highly successful guerrilla war against the Allies, tying down large numbers of troops.